All right, everybody. Hey, yeah, here we are, Katie. Welcome to KBN Live. Running right on time, about 8:25. We appreciate y'all being patient with us. Russ has been burning up the highways. We can kind of get to that here in a little bit, but thanks for joining us. We got Ryan Lambert up there. I'm Jeff Malott. We are your host, of course, and we're glad to welcome, long overdue, this is Russ's first appearance on KBN Live.
It is.
Probably the number one, without a doubt, number one angler out there if we did the rankings today. Rus Snyders,
for sure,
coming on with us. We appreciate you, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate having me on. I know we tried a couple other times and kept getting schedule conflicts or something happened. So
I don't know how you dodged the bullet this long, man. That's impressive.
Yeah,
you're lucky. You're lucky you stayed out of the cesspool that long, man. Congrats.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. If you guys are watching,
you've. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, so if you guys are watching, drop a comment so we know you're in there. The crowd's starting to build a little bit, so we appreciate y'all. But go ahead, Ryan. Sorry about that.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, you've been killing it since. What started your hot streak last year? It was in the fall.
State championship.
Was that the beginning of the end?
Yeah.
It seems like you've cleaned house and everything that you fished since then.
Just about. I got a little bit of a roll where I won a few, I think 4 or 5 in a row, and then slacked off a little bit. Still got a couple squeaked in a couple checks with the Logan Martin Bassmaster, and then the Bassmaster at Lake Fork.
That's all the tournaments. That's all the tournaments we've had this year. So
this man just said
pretty much hit the brakes.
This man just said squeaked in, and he got to walk the stage at the Bassmaster Classic.
With a nice squeaked in 9th place. That's good. I can't complain. It was cool. But yeah, lately it just looks like our local tournaments are starting up again. Hopefully some of these bigger, more regional, national events get going here soon too. Just kind of waiting on hearing about the Hobie is the next one we're kind of trying to figure out maybe.
Kentucky Lake.
Yeah. So
we're having the Bass Nation event down here on Chick in a couple weeks if you want to slide down.
I heard I would have done it. I had the weekend free because I was going to do the Bassmaster Chickamauga, and then I actually have a guide trip. I'm doing a river guide trip with a father and a couple sons. I think it's Memorial Day weekend, so we're going to do a 2-day
switch it up and just guide them on Chickamauga.
Yeah.
There's no rules against that. You can guide in a tournament. That's fine. Maybe. You don't need those fish anyway. Yeah. Let them catch them.
Yeah, man. I wish I could. It sounds like fun. It's a great time to be down there too. And I don't know. I might sneak off to Chickamauga. Like I said, I won't be able to do that tournament unfortunately, but I'll hopefully try to sneak out there and maybe do a couple upgrades for my monthly tournaments that I'm in.
Before we go any further, Ryan, he was being kind of humble about, I've been doing all right on a little streak. And I'm going to throw up this graphic. I got the graphic from Tourney X that I was queued up just for this, and I'm going to read it off. So starting back in October, Cast Championship first, KBF Trail Lacrosse first, the 10 first. There's one in the middle I want to get to. Hobie BOS, Lake Fork first. Logan Martin, 9th out of 222. Lake Fork again back in the top 20 out of 150, and then second at the KBF in Tennessee season opener. So, wow. I mean, what a streak, Russ. But right in the middle there, maybe the most important one, first annual $20 Make You Holler winner take all, Dusk Till Dawn. What is that?
That was, after the 10 tournament that we had down there at Kissimmee, which we had a great time down there, and everybody, we really got to connect, and I've made some new friendships with really getting to know Matt Scotch and Cody Milton even better. I spent a little bit of time with him before, but just that whole experience down there at the 10, kind of carried over, and we're still just kind of amped up, ready to fish some more. We had a few days to spare, and we went down to a buddy of mine. I had a buddy of mine that was down in Fellsmere. We crashed at his place. He's got a little piece of property down there, so we crashed there and just did a bunch of fishing at Kenansville and Stick Marsh a little bit, and so it's just this guy. I think it was me, Cody, Josh, Matt, and Gene Jensen, and one of the local kids, really nice guy. I forget his name, but younger guy. But he fished a few other guys. But it was just a little,
Okay.
little turkey shoot, I guess you call it. That's what we used to call this little $20 tournament. But
It was a bunch
it
of
was
hammers.
fun.
It sounds like though. It wasn't a bunch of
It
slackers.
was, yeah. It was a stacked field. I didn't, we were fishing out there the day before. Everybody else was crushing them, and I was actually struggling. I was like, man, I'm gonna get my ass kicked this time. But yeah, no, I ended up finding a couple. It was fun. They got big ones down there, that's for sure. You ever get the chance to fish some of those lakes, and I should probably do it now because I hear they just opened up, or they're just opening up the boat ramp at Fellsmere to the big boats.
It's
now.
not open yet.
So Ryan just got back, didn't
Like
he?
I just got back.
Oh, that's where you were. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. I know you're down in Florida. I didn't realize you were
Yep.
down there. Cool.
Oh, it was Fellsmere, man. I love that place.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Dude, I heard a rumor though that they're going to open the ramp. They're still talking about not opening that enhanced area in the back that's supposed to be just loaded.
Really?
They're talking about still keeping it off limits and studying the fish. I mean, they're just trying to grow the world record down there. So,
yeah, right.
But they're talking about still keeping it off limits.
What does that
That's
mean?
cool.
What does enhanced area mean? What have they done back there?
Doing some government studies. Or something.
Yeah,
Some DNA enhanced or something?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think they really. So Fellsmere is just like it's just huge flats. It's just hydrilla as far as you can see, and in the enhanced area, I think there's some like grass islands and like scattered grass flats and some deeper holes to kind of make the fish concentrate a little more. From my understanding, I hadn't tiptoed across the line, but I thought about it on Thursday, but we had like 20-mile-an-hour north winds, and I was like, man, I'm not getting stuck back there and get rolled up on by a game warden in an airboat and have to explain my way out of that one.
Yeah.
Harsh from throwing shade. It means better. I know what that word means, Harshman. Get back to work. I know he's at work. So, Russ,
Fired up.
Ryan was talking about your streak. You want to give us that? I know you don't want to give away any secrets, but what are the keys to something like that? I mean, is there a technique that you've been traveling with that just works? Or are you just figuring it out as you go?
I don't know. I can't. I've been tournament fishing for a while, and it always seems like I've had a lot of good days pre-fishing, and it's just you can almost count on if you have a good pre-fish, you show up tournament day and the conditions completely change and you got to start over. Stuff happens. I mean, it's just tournament, no matter what. And lately, I just keep finding these areas and figuring them out, and there's nobody else around, and I go there tournament day and it just plays out the way you'd hope it would. And I really can't explain it. It's just,
Like,
I guess a lot of it's confidence and momentum and stuff too, and just believing, a lot of it I just keeps happening. So I just keep thinking, staying positive and say, all right, it's going to eventually happen somehow. It has been recently, so I don't see why it won't this time. And it's been working out.
It seems like
an athlete being in the zone, just where everything's.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It seems like when you get hot, like depending on how long that streak is, everything you touch is like, you got to fish it. Like that's. Like when you win that first one of the season, you better sign up for as many as you can in the area, because it seems like you get them all at once, and then when it stops, like you're back in like 15th place, right outside the money. Like you're still catching some fish, but you're just kind of watching everybody else walk off with the checks. I mean, Kurt Smits, I think, is on a similar streak in the Hobie events. Man, it's like everything he touches turns to gold. So. We'll see if he continues that at Kentucky Lake.
Yeah, hopefully I can keep with this break. I was a little worried about just losing my momentum and getting, but we'll see.
We've been trying to still do stuff, local tournaments. That way you don't get rusty. Because you will.
Live a little, I did that, and then I did the just our first season opener. It was supposed to be about a month ago during the KBF Lanier, but then that KBF got canceled, and then. Our tournament that got rescheduled for this past weekend, and I'm Old Hickory, and I do pretty well at that lake as long as I can, fish shallow and power fish and cover water, and I usually feel pretty comfortable. So, yeah, it's nice to be at least getting back after the tournaments and getting back into the swing of things, and hopefully it continues. And yeah, we can do some of these regional ones. And like I said, I've been doing a lot of projects, just things around the house, and just kind of taking care of all the stuff that I definitely wouldn't have been able to have if I kept up what my schedule was supposed to be like. So it's good to get all those things kind of behind me. I just picked up my bass boat actually from the shop. I haven't it's been sitting in my driveway for almost a couple of years now, and I just, since this kayak thing's really taken off, I just kind of put that to the side. It hasn't been running. I had a messed up lower unit. So last year I found a new motor for it, but cosmetically it was all messed up. So I just got the seats and the carpet and the gel coat done. So yeah,
brand new.
I've been driving all over. Just picked it up in Knoxville, and hopefully going to be putting it up for sale here and getting rid of that. And so yeah, if I can do that, that'll be a big kind of weight off my shoulders. And I think that's another big part of the success too for tournament fishing, is just not having the things to worry about, not having, whether it's family stuff or work stuff or just, it's hard if you can't concentrate on the task at hand and really being able to put 100% of your focus, to the fishing and while you're on the water and off the water, it's hard to perform well. And throughout my life, I can really think back of, times that I've done well. Tournament fishing kind of correlates to times where I've kind of had a stress-free life when not a lot going on to worry about. And it seems there's times in my life where I do have a lot I'm stressing out about. It kind of shows through the tournament fishing. I don't do as well. So that's a big part of it. And that's the one thing I really, took advantage, tried to make the best of with all this stuff going on, is just get as much stuff as I can taken care of. So I just have less worries when I get back to these tournaments.
I listened to Bass Talk Live the other day. Tim Ward was on there, and he brought up his early success tournament fishing was he really attributed it to the fact that he had nothing else going on, that he was laser focused just on tournament fishing. He didn't have family yet. He didn't have any other distractions, and he was just locked in. So, gives a lot of validity to what you just said, Russ.
Oh, yeah.
So we got a couple comments coming in. Dwayne Beatty, who was recently voted the hottest man in Arkansas, he says, go take those boat guys' money. So apparently he doesn't like fishing against you. And Clifton Allen wants to know, with hot streaks, be honest, could you beat Conrad Benetti's ass at a one-on-one online tournament? I don't know if you know who Conrad Benetti is, because you fish a lot of live tournaments.
Started seeing him. He's down in Florida, right?
He's a new personality here on KBN recently. He's fishing the KBBT, the bracket deal, and he talks crazy shit. Like, he's like making graphics and all kinds of stuff. He is hilarious. I like messing with the guy. But he's down in Florida. Like, he's down in the freaking, the Mecca that's just cranking out giants every day. And I guess he thinks that everywhere in the world is like, I don't know, like that's tough. You think you could do that, or would you just go down there to Florida and fish against him?
That's it would be hard to compete with. The lakes, we got some good lakes around here, but if you're trying to, it's kind of like the 5 Live thing too that I was doing. I was kind of stuck here with some crappy weather and lakes are, it's kind of a long story. I tried to fish an area, didn't have good cell phone service, so then I didn't have it. That was my only day I had to pre-fish, so I was like, all right, I'll just go to Percy Priest then. I guess I know there's good service here.
That's tough.
You're fishing against guys that are
guys that are driving across state lines. That's tough, man.
Yeah. So trying to compete with somebody down in that Fellsmere area, it's not an easy.
I offered to go fish against him live on the same water while I was down there. I'm like, all right, we'll meet up and we'll fish for some money while we're down here. That wasn't cool enough. Apparently I don't have the balls to enter the online tournament. So
we could have streamed that right here, Ryan.
I don't know many of my Tennessee waters that I can bet on cranking out 110 inches.
No.
There's good fishing here. I'm not saying that, but
105 is doable. 105 is doable out here, but it's a big
102 and a half is my best day so far.
Some 22, 23 inches. The 21
it's hard to get predictable.
Get those out here.
The one impressive thing about that bracket is the Jonathan Pepin dude. that's in the Final Four of that. With all he lives up in Michigan, all Smallies, I guess.
Really?
I like that.
Yeah, so
I like
he's in
the
there.
style.
He's in there against the Southern boys, a couple Texas guys and Florida guys.
I mean, that's the thing about smallmouth, though. Like here, when the smallmouth are right, we've got about a 6 to 8 week period. If you catch a smallmouth, most of them are between 18 and 21 inches, the adult smallies that move up. So, I mean, putting up a mid-90s limit is a guarantee when you get out of bed that morning. But to break 100 is, it's rare that you're getting those 22-inch plus smallmouth.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was a big jump for sure. You've been the smallmouth king lately, man. I've been seeing those giants.
This is my favorite time of year, dude. I love it.
Don't get Ryan started. He thought he was going to get a $75,000 check because of the smallmouth. Just didn't work out.
Yeah,
I was getting something. I don't know if it'd been the whole 75, but it was going to be a little bit.
Yeah,
oh well.
I bet. Yeah, I know you were looking forward to it, and you caught the fish to prove your point.
Yeah.
I would have. They ain't there in October though, huh?
No, they're not there today.
Really?
Yeah, they roll out, man. They after they spawn, they're back out in the middle of the river.
They don't get on those ledges and those bars out there at all?
They do, but see, they're scattered. Like they'll be scattered all up and down the river. You can catch them concentrated in the spring. They're scattered on like the rock piles where the buoys are and bridge pilings. Like they're scattered all up and down the river. So yeah, I mean, you can catch a couple, but you're not going to go out there and smash 100 inches of smallmouth.
Gotcha.
Kind of disappointing. I mean, even if you did fish just for them, you'd have to cover 7 or 8 miles that day of river just to get 5. So a little tricky.
Yeah, it's hard up. I've been up in that area. It's tricky to fish, especially if you have a torpedo. It makes it earlier, just easier.
I got one. It's on the way. I'm going to do it. I made up my mind. I'm going to join the torpedo tribe. Sorry, Jeff. Sorry, man.
Hey, man, that's all right. Hey, you know what? Let's bring something else up that came up on that post I made the other day about the best 5 anglers in your state. Just kind of a little post to get people talking. And right off the bat, Ryan listed the guys from Tennessee, and some other people did too. Russ, do you attribute any of your success to having to go against those guys just in the state of Tennessee all the time and keep your game sharp? Because I mean,
the only way you're going to become the best is to compete against the best, and it just kind of. Compete against. You have good competition. You're just gonna have to step up. Makes everybody have to step up their game, and just makes you a little more fired up and work that much harder to if that's what you got to do. If you don't, somebody else will. So
I mean, Lord, Tennessee. Probably if you listed 10 people, it'd be a common thing to see all those people on a top 10 list anywhere at a tournament.
Yeah, I mean, just in our club, we got between me, Josh, Stewart, and Adam Reiser. It's our club, it's a lot of, challenging place to get a check.
Same thing down in Texas. Katie just said that. I mean, same thing down in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Our state championship's pretty competitive. It's pretty stacked. It's not the bunch you want to draw randomly to go fish against in the morning.
Yeah, we're getting more clubs, it seems, every year, and better turnout. I mean, it's we really got a good thing going here in Tennessee. That's for sure.
Yeah, Dylan just mentioned Arkansas. I mean, Arkansas's got a pretty salty list at the top 5 with Cody and Dwayne and Garrett Morgan and some of those guys. So, but it's just the sheer numbers of anglers that come out of Tennessee and Texas. It's pretty impressive. Numbers of quality anglers.
Yeah,
we're trying, Jeff. We're trying.
Man. I've been enjoying living here. I've been here about 8 years now, and it's phenomenal fishing. Just so centrally located too, which makes it easy for traveling around for all these tournaments too. It's just about anywhere you can get in a day's drive in this part of the country.
So give us some history on you. Like, how did you get started fishing? Like, you didn't start out obviously kayak fishing. So how did you make that transition?
I guess I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I do camp. I do a little bit of the cool thing about living out there is just all kinds of fishing. I did a little bit of saltwater fishing in the bay. I'd catch stripers and sharks and stingrays, and my dad bought a little Zodiac raft, so I was also used to fishing out of like little tiny boats. It's similar to a kayak. This thing is only 10 foot, and put a little trolling motor on it and a little 6 horsepower Johnson and a cooler. And there's between that, the battery, the gas tank, we only had 1 square foot to stand on between me and my dad, and we do little bass boat tournaments, and that'd be competing against. It was like a amateur series, so it was all, and there's horsepower categories. So it's like 0 to 100 horsepower, and we'd be competing against essentially just a bunch of bass trackers and stuff. So that was, I guess, my first real tournament experience, and then from there, I ended up saving up a little money for a used bass boat, and I kind of just jumped right into the highest level tournaments that I could at the time. The West Coast is a little different. It has kind of their own like pro-am circuits. There's if you do one bass and Angler's Choice at the time, and you do those, you pay $400 for an entry, and first place would be $30,000 boat. It's a pretty cool deal. They don't really have anything like that in the country anymore, but I do some of those tournaments, do some of the Bassmaster Opens, and I had some success, and some, a lot of times I get my butt kicked too, but I had some good finishes. But eventually I got kind of burnt out of it, and just I turned my attention to guiding, and spent a little time guiding kind of all over Northern California, but Clear Lake, Berryessa, California Delta, Sonoma, kind of the main ones, and did that for a while, but it became hard to really make a living at that for me too, because at the time, it was right at the time where gas was at its absolute peak, and I was paying close to $5 a gallon. And then, everything in California is more expensive, between the registration, the insurance. To go to Lake Berryessa, we'd have to cross a couple bridges. You pay bridge tolls. I'd pay $40 in bridge tolls for the day, between the Bay Bridge and the Carquinez Bridge, just in bridge tolls, and there'd be a launch fee. So anyways, it got hard to kind of do anything sustainable, and eventually I decided, I need to get the heck out of California and go to a place where it just makes a little more sense. So that's why I moved out to Tennessee. I had a couple friends that I grew up with, childhood friends, and they moved out here about a year before me, and they say you should come out here and think you'd like it, and it's the best decision I ever made. So I'm happy to be out here.
That's awesome.
You're in the right spot now.
Oh yeah.
I talked to Brian Howell on a podcast. He lives down in Texas, really good angler down in Texas, and he moved from California, and he was talking about some of those fees, how wild that was to have to pay, whatever it was to fish certain lakes and the bridge tolls. It's crazy.
Yeah, they have
the ship house
deeper
crew
muscle inspections where you have to. I can go on and on. It's a big mess.
They talk about that, Abel and Adam, and then getting permitted to have these tournaments, and they'll only let you launch at like one ramp, and just all these stuff we're not used to out here, because we're on the TVA system where there's a million ramps and nobody really says anything about what you do. And I guess out there it's a
night and day.
ball game.
It's night and day. Every time I go back, I go back there, once or twice a year, visit family, and try to line up a few. I'd have a power washing business. Is basically what I've been doing since since a teenager, I guess. So it's nice. I can kind of schedule, make my own schedule, and kind of turn the business. I keep it simple, so it's just me. So and when I go back to California, I'll knock out a few jobs, do a few fishing trips. But every time I'm back there, I'm just very much reminded of how much I don't want to move back. But there's a lot of great things about there, a lot of great fishing, a lot of great people. But it's a lot of time, a lot of outdoorsmen you see leaving.
If we get this Corona stuff squared away, are you planning on trying to fish the BASS or Hobie events out there?
I'm gonna do the BSS. That's the plan, anyways. We'll see. It's in August, so I feel like it should be good to go there. But
yeah, I would think so,
because it is California. But I think there's a KB. I think there's 3 tournaments in a row. Like if you go out there, I can do the Hobie at the Delta. Then there's a KBF at Folsom that's scheduled right now. Then a Bassmaster at Clear Lake. So all 3 of those lakes, I've got a lot of history fishing them, and kind of nervous. I feel pretty confident about Clear Lake, but the Delta's always been a struggle. I fished there so much, but it's always been kind of my nemesis. I've had some.
I heard it's kind of a different animal, though. Like I heard the Delta's pretty unpredictable.
So fast.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've heard.
it's just you got to really just go with your intuition and realize that the tides are changing every day. The tides it's an hour. The high tide or low tide will be an hour later each day. And just the rising and falling of the tides will just move fish in general. So you can get them one day on a high tide, and all of a sudden the tide drops and all the bait moves out of the area. And when the tide moves back up, that bait might not move back up. It might be long gone. So it's just constantly changing. You gotta not get too locked into what was working.
Is that like what happens when they open the floodgates here?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what a tide is.
Old Hickory's kind of like the Delta in a way too. Of it, where when that water it just fluctuates. Old Hickory, they keep level. It's one of the few lakes here in Tennessee. That and Gunnersville, I guess, are a couple that they don't have like summer and winter pool. A lot of lakes that fluctuate 5-6 feet. But Old Hickory, it stays pretty much consistent. But once that water, when that water's rising, it's doing pretty good. And when it's dropping, it'll really push them out of areas. And sometimes it'll concentrate them, make them predictable on like outside edges and isolated little pieces of cover and stuff. But for the most part, it can change quick there.
Dwayne wants to know if you're going to be at the Fort Gibson KBF Trail event. Is that on your agenda?
That's not the Tennessee River?
That's in Oklahoma.
No, that wasn't on my. When is it?
I wouldn't worry about
it. Come on.
We've got some celebrities coming in. I saw collegiate angler Lee Rose Koza has joined us. Hats off to her. Christine Fisher from her Wild Week has joined us. Yeah, she's
what's the
she's
date
down
on?
there with the Kozas. What's that?
What date is it?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I think it's in May. This
really?
month, or maybe in June. Is it May or June? Dwayne's watching. Is it May or June, Dwayne?
May 30th? Is it that week?
Dwayne will answer here in a minute. It's coming up. The Beaver Lake one was supposed to be like a week or two ago, and it got canceled, obviously.
Did it?
Fort Gibson is coming right up here pretty soon.
How about the KBF? There was a KBF. I was just asking my buddy Adam about it just a little while ago. The KBF in Knoxville, that's on the 6th. I was kind of thinking about that one maybe, but I don't know. I'm ready to get after it. So.
There's going to be a lot of tournaments in a short amount of time when they do fire back up.
It is. I know. It's going to be a busy fall, it seems like.
This fall is going to be terrible, man.
Yeah.
It is going to be rough.
Yeah, usually that's about the time it starts slowing down. You just got a couple in October, a couple in November. It's going to be every damn weekend now.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. And the fall is going to be crazy. You got championships in the fall, plus regular tournaments, all just state championships. Yeah. Everything's just crammed into October, November. But it'll be fun. Even the Elite Series I saw is going to run through November.
I saw that. Yeah. MLF. I was just talking to my buddy. He said MLF's getting started. I guess June 6th.
June 6th, yeah, but I think they're dropping 2 events, they said.
Are they? Well, they're going to
they had 2
it sounds like in the summer. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
We've never done that, I don't think.
So
Dwayne said it is the 23rd.
That's Memorial Day weekend. I don't know the logic
23rd,
behind that.
That's the same weekend as the
Bass Nation Chick.
Yeah, I can't do that one.
Yeah.
Steve-O wanted to know if you would guide him on that tournament on Chickamauga.
Him on the turn.
Yeah, if you'll cancel on the father and son, Steve-O will pay you to guide him on the tournament. How about that?
I'll just sit there and fish along with him and be his coach. Is that what's up?
Yeah.
That's a new thing.
All right.
Give him a little pat on the back every now and then.
Yeah.
Take some Coors Original banquet beers. He'll be ready to go.
Lately there's been a lot of rules that aren't really rules that people bring up. So maybe is there a rule about being coached? Maybe that's something you could do before it gets changed. Live coaching.
I don't know. That's that would be one to be addressed. That may be along the lines of the team fishing video we saw posted last week.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if that's frowned upon or not.
Just make strong suggestions, not really coach. I don't know how that
Yeah. Usually, if you watch me fish and listen to the curse words I say, you can tell like what's not working.
You can read it. You can read the room. What's going on?
Yeah, you can figure it out.
That's hilarious. So Russ, I was going to ask you, about your consistency and what you do to stay consistent. Well, somebody else chimed in and said, "Hey, what's your favorite technique?" So maybe that'll answer that question. Do you have a favorite technique that travels no matter where you go, or are you just throwing the box at them until you figure it out?
I mean, I'm pretty comfortable. There's, growing up, if there was ever a technique that I didn't feel confident in, that's the one I'd try to, put some time in and learn it, as much as I can. There's a few techniques I still, like I don't know a lot about spy baits. That's something I should probably get a little better at. But I'd say my favorite is I like power fishing. I could finesse fish and drop shot and do all that too. But if I had a preference, I think I could put myself at an advantage more if I'm power fishing. If I'm finesse fishing or shaky head fishing, I feel like I'm just more on a level playing field. But I'm pretty confident with just my casting abilities and just my effectiveness to pick apart shallow cover and just make more casts than anybody else. It's kind of if I can do that, I feel like I put myself at an advantage. So anytime I'm especially a swim jig has been something I've got a lot of confidence in since moving out here. Just because you can also fish, you can fish it around so much cover, and you can find what the fish want by throwing it, whether it's a faster retrieve or slower retrieve. Sometimes I'll swim it and drop it down by something. And you can just learn a lot from fishing that bait, and it just does so many things. It's just really versatile lure. So,
are you a chatterbait guy or spinnerbait guy? If you had to pick one of them up, which one would it be?
If I'm fishing around wood, a spinnerbait. If I'm fishing around grass, a chatterbait.
Right.
That's what I would say. But yeah, I love fishing both. Spinnerbaits kind of come back. I had a while, even before I moved out here. The last like 10 years, I went a good chunk where I did not throw spinnerbaits that much. And then a couple of years ago, that's a lot of my success in these tournaments recently. I've come on a spinnerbait. So it's good to get some confidence back in that lure. It's been a little while.
I've gone 33 years without throwing a spinnerbait much.
Really? Not a fan.
I'll probably go 33 more.
Yeah.
That used to be
I've caught fish on a spinnerbait. That's not my comfort zone. I don't like it. I like the feel of that chatterbait. I like the rattle of it. I know big Colorado blades. We'll throw them at night. That's one time that I will throw a spinnerbait religiously is at night, a big black spinnerbait. But other than that,
the man that taught me to fish he's a spinnerbait god. So that's all he does is throw spinnerbaits, and that's what I used to do. And I'm the same way, Russ. I don't hardly throw them anymore. I got a whole box.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I got a giant box of original Terminators that just sit there.
Yeah.
I could probably make some money on those. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear those are worth some money now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've made a lot of my own lures. A lot of the lures I throw, I make myself: spinnerbaits, buzzbaits, jigs, all of that, chatterbaits. Some of them I'm pretty proud of. My chatterbaits are pretty. I'd say they're just as good, if not better, than the jackhammers. Ooh. But some of the baits, my spinnerbaits could use some work. They're not a lot of. There's just a lot to a spinnerbait, which is the thickness of the wire and to find a good spinnerbait, it really needs to be balanced correctly. Just the length, from the lead head to where you make the line tie, the length of the wire, the separation between the blades, some company, War Eagles are really good. The one Cody throw was Accent.
Yeah.
Like Sandtone. I've been, using a couple. Usually I like to use all my own stuff, but my spinnerbaits, the heads that I got, I haven't dialed those in quite yet. I catch fish on them, but there's better ones out there for sure.
Call Jordan Marshall. He's a spinnerbait master. He went down to Georgia and beat the hell out of them boys in the state championship with his own spinnerbait.
Did he? All right.
Yeah.
I got to talk to him. Cody's been making some too. I've been talking to him, and he's been pouring his own lead and he's really dialing those things in too.
You're not selling your chatterbaits, right? You're just making them for yourself.
No.
Are you doing like a direct attached blade and all that kind of stuff, making it real similar?
I got some of these. So I
got to get him in a lawsuit.
Well, it's okay if you don't sell them.
I got my stuff from Cast Industries. You could buy. They got 20 spinnerbait head. They got all the stuff to make your own jigs and spinnerbaits. You got to buy them wholesale, and you got to buy 100 at a time. If you want 3/8 ounce spinnerbaits, you got to buy 100 of them. So I got, it's a big investment in the beginning, but it's definitely paid for itself now. And those chatterbaits I got, you can't get those heads anymore. They call them a 3/8, but really it's like just under a half ounce. But now they won't sell those because chatterbait got the patent on that head, so you can't have any chatterbait with a direct, attachment for the blade and you guys know what I'm talking about. But I can't. I got about 60 of them left, and those things are like gold to me because I got them dialed in pretty good, and they catch them.
We got a guy here that he sends them all over the country, but he makes jigs and different custom lures, and he made chatterbaits, and he made them that way, and he got the call here not long ago to cease and desist.
Yeah. So I'd get in trouble if I sold them anyways, but at least I got some for myself.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Let's see. Do you think they outsigned?
So what's your biggest win? Like in your mind, what's your? Or it doesn't even have to be a win. What's your kind of highlight tourney finish?
Well, it'd be one of these last few. I don't know. I would maybe say the.
You had what? The AOY. You had the 10. You had
probably the trail
state championship. You had BOS Fork. I mean,
it'd have to be the trail series championship because I won the state championship was a big deal. I won that for here in Tennessee, and I literally left. I went straight from there, went home, packed up some more. Took 2 hours, packed up some stuff, and went straight to Wisconsin. And I was in fifth place for the Angler of the Year points, national Angler of the Year points, and I just missed winning the regional Angler of the Year to Cody. He beat me out by like a couple points, and so I just missed out on that. I knew there was, I had a prayer at least to walk away with that AOI, but I knew it was a slim chance. The only way I had, could win it was pretty much to win the tournament and have all 4 guys above me, which are all Matt Scotch and Cody and I think Derek Brundle, and all 4 of them would have to not do so well, and I couldn't believe it happened, and it just all kind of worked out. It was a pretty surreal moment.
And how much was that? Was that 20 grand or something?
No, I wasn't in the so I wasn't in the challenge series or championship, because they had the trail series championship. The challenge series championship was all like the monthly challenges and all that stuff, and then the pro series championship, which is really just the pro series, just like a side bet more or less on
if
I was fishing. So still fishing.
That's a perfect description.
But so I didn't do those, and if I would have, I missed out on 20,000. So I think I got about 5,000 for the Trail Series championship. But Josh, who got second in the tournament, he ended up winning the Trail Series or the Challenge Series and the Pro Series. So he got an extra 20 grand. I won 5 grand for the tournament. I also won another 10 grand for the Angler of the Year too. And the Angler of the Year title is probably the biggest accomplishment.
What's that feel like when you go to the mailbox and you got a $15,000 check sitting there?
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. I can't complain. It's it's more money I've ever made fishing.
Not bad for kayak fishing, huh?
No, not at all, man.
Now when you say you rolled out to Wisconsin, have you been up there before? Are you familiar with that area?
I've never been up there, no. So it was a whole different animal, and some of the stuff kind of carried over. There was a lot of grass up there, hydrilla and stuff like that, and but the fish were definitely different. They look different. I've never seen like really pure strain largemouth like that.
It's a wild place, man.
It was a wild place. And it was tough fishing though. I found a good area. I didn't catch a lot of fish, but the area that I was in, it was just, they were all like those 3 to 4 pound fish, 17 to 20 inches. It was, I was catching more over 17 than I was under, that's for sure. So, again, it was an area I had all to myself. So it was a cool experience.
That's awesome. I've been up there once for an event, and I didn't know what to expect, and was just blown away by how diverse and how wild the landscape is up there. I see the Mississippi
Yes.
River when I cross over it going to Tennessee, and it just looks like a nasty mudhole.
Yeah.
But you
Oh,
get up
it's a
there,
whole
and
other animal.
it's beautiful.
I'd love to fish it. We had a big cold front came through. I could see how summertime and when that frog bite's going. I haven't experienced that, but I could see how that would be just. I mean, it looks like frog heaven there.
Yeah. You going to go up for the BOS event? Maybe is that on the list in July?
I think it conflicts with something. I wanted to go up there really bad, but I think it's one of the Clear Lake or the.
I think it is. Yep.
It's one of the.
I
The
think it is the
Bass Master
Clear Lake.
I think. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So. Yeah, I'm gonna go out west. I'm gonna drive. I was gonna fly out. I was gonna fly out there, and just buy a kayak to kind of keep, because I go out there so often, once or twice a year. I was like, man, I just need to keep a couple kayaks at my dad's place here, and that way when I fly out there, and just buy some old little beater truck, and I'm always having to borrow stuff when I go out there. But I made a decision, since I'll be out there for a month, I'm gonna just make the drive, and and do that. I got my truck all set up now to camp out in, and did a bunch of work on. That's one of the kind of the projects I've been doing here the last couple of months. Is I put a couple big Dakota lithium batteries in the. Basically, what I did, I ripped out my back seats and my passenger seat. And I built a couple boxes, a couple big giant storage boxes, and they lock and everything, and they have some memory foam on top, so I can sleep on top of it. It's just a big platform. But inside one of the boxes, I put a couple 100 amp hour Dakota lithiums in there, and I got a special red arc charging system that basically uses the alternator to charge those batteries. So when I'm running it, it'll keep those batteries topped off, and then I have a power inverter, 1500 watt power inverter. So I can actually charge my fish finder batteries. I got a couple of these Ryobi batteries or GoPro batteries, or run a little. I just did a little camping trip on the Buffalo River, and the campsite we were at, there's no electric there, so we're running a little coffee maker, and eventually I might put a little mini fridge in there. But
you got any video walkthrough of that thing, man? You got any kind of?
Yeah, I got to do that. I got it all finally finished up right now, and that's definitely something that's on my list. Now that's all good to go. But it's been it's a fun little self-sustainable vehicle, so I can just kind of sleep in the truck and have everything I need, and not be dependent on electric to charge. Basically, mostly just my fish finder batteries, most importantly.
So talking about this kind of stuff, there's several anglers that travel all around, just from tournament to tournament. Siddiqui, Stewart, Cody Milton. Like, how important, Christine? Sorry, don't mean to leave her out. How important do you feel like is that ability? Like, if they go down to a certain amount of pre-fishing, 3 days of pre-fishing or something on these tournaments, how big of a difference do you think that's going to make, taking that kind of unlimited time on the water away? Do you think it's going to level the playing field a lot? Like, what do you
taking? Why is it going to be taken? I don't understand your question.
No, so I mean that's one of the topics of discussion. Like, should these BASS and Hobie, should they limit pre-fishing, have official pre-fishing windows? Yeah, so you can't go fish for 3 weeks on a lake or something.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's pros and cons to that. I mean, if somebody's willing to put in, I guess my mindset is a good way to win is to outwork the competition, whether it's map studies or time on the water, or and if you limit that, I mean, maybe it does make it somewhat more level playing field for the people that can't put in as much work. But I guess the people that do have the time and do want to put the commitment in, it sucks a little bit for them, I guess. But I mean, I see both sides, and whichever way it is, I'm down to compete either way.
In your opinion, how do you see, do you ever see a pro, truly pro, kayak series And I don't mean guys that make enough money to survive in a year. I mean, like RVs, like you just travel a circuit and it's these 25, 50 anglers that are fully sponsored, everything's paid for, and they go around and fish this circuit. Like, how do you think that's going to happen? Do you see that happening?
I guess a lot of it depends on with everything going on right now. A lot of industries are going to be affected, and a lot of it just comes down to sponsor money and how much these.
Well, that's the first thing that gets cut.
Yeah, no, I know. I remember seeing it back, when I was in California through like 2008 when that recession hit. Especially out in California, there was, the boat industry because of gas prices and everything. The sponsor money just went away like pretty quick, and there's everybody was early 2000s. I remember a lot of people were getting a lot of sponsor money, and there's a lot of people being able to live off of that. And then you saw it go away pretty quick in 2008 after that recession, and it took a while. Just I don't even know if it really bounced back to what it was like in the early 2000s, but it did improve. But yeah, so a lot of it's just going to be what happens, I think in the next, where it's hard to predict the future, I guess. But if that sponsored money's there and the industries are doing good and those companies are making money and they can afford to sponsor those anglers, then that opportunity, I'm sure, is there. But it's a big question mark probably at this point.
I'd say in order to live on the road, wouldn't you guys say that entry fees and prize pots? I mean, entry fees would have to be several $1,000s for each event. In order to make the prize pots feasible, don't you think?
Several thousand? I don't know about several thousand.
I don't think that it needs to get to that level.
I can see if it gets, I think that $300 to $400 range is probably, if it was at that level, that probably puts enough money for people to.
Well, I mean, I think the pro guys survive because they pay down so far a good amount. Like you can finish 40th and still get a $10,000 check.
Yeah, but so that's bonus money.
The biggest thing though is the difference in expenses between owning a kayak and owning a bass boat. I mean, it's huge. A lot of that money. I mean, to do high level, elite series or FLW, any of that, you need like $50,000-$60,000 just between the entry fees, the hotels, the gas, the registration, the boat repairs. All that stuff for
like the elites. Theirs is what, 50?
A fraction of that.
It's 50 or 60 for entries for the elites because Skylar Hamilton. That's what he was saying. He's like, I sell my boat every year to pay my entries for the next year. He's like, that's part of it. I mean, these guys are surviving. They're surviving on their sponsor money. Anything they win is a plus, and that's exposure for their sponsors. Right. If they're not finishing, you've got some guys that have kind of built their own brand that they'll always be in the game because they have that following in place. But, the guys that aren't winning, that aren't cutting checks, I mean, if they're not getting that exposure for their sponsors, their days are numbered. It's kind of a, put out or get out mentality. Kayak fishing, man, I think we may see $500 to $1,000 entries, but the biggest thing for us is going to be exposure. Like, how can we show these companies value? What's going to get people turning their heads, looking at us and paying attention to what products we're using or, kind of who we're promoting. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. And, we've obviously had a thread going on KBN about the 5 Live stuff. This is something that we've talked about, for a year or so. I think that, not the 5 Live format at all. That's not at all what I'm saying. But I think having a live camera on the kayak throughout the day, I think that is going to be something that comes into play where you can sell TV time. You can have something live on an app for people to follow along with. You can click your favorite angler and see what they're doing throughout the day. And also, I think it's going to take away that cheating element, where some people might not get caught doing some stuff unless there's a camera boat near. Like, I think I think that would ease a lot of people's minds because I know we've had a lot of cheating scandals in kayak fishing. Like, that's not a secret. So I think that would give us something that we could leverage, as a safety net, but also as promotion to kind of draw in some bigger sponsors.
Yeah, having the live feed. I mean, just when Bassmaster Live came out with their live feed, it was That was really a game changer, and just the fan base. I think it really increased the fan base and made it more of a viewable product for people to learn from, and to follow along and get to know the personalities. I mean, all that it does a lot for it, and eventually kayak fishing. Like you said, if we can get it on that level, and the biggest thing is it's just so hard with cell phone service. If we is if we can get it clear, like once it gets to the point where there's maybe with that 5G, there's gonna there'll be cell phone service everywhere, and then we won't need to worry about it.
It's like Ryan said, the live streaming is going to be important, but the equipment to pull it off is very expensive.
And the quality, to have it be a quality product, like we're working half of the time, and half the time it's not working. People, that's kind of a deterrent for people to like, all right, well, screw this. But if it gets to work,
I don't think it's going to be based on cell phone signal. I think it's going to be something like a Wi-Fi jetpack signal booster. It's going to have to be sent to a truck, just like MLF does it, and then streamed from there. Like I don't think we can rely on cell phone signal. We've seen that. I mean the 5 Live thing proved it. You have this choppy little video, and that's which is fine.
I mean, you feel like just with the advancement of technology, like it's on the way, and it's pretty soon. And I think once it gets to that point where it can just be more consistent, we can have all those pieces in place. Should create a promising future for our industry.
I'll tell you this, guys. I don't know. At the Logan Martin event, Old Town did their product launch the morning of the tournament, right there on the shores of the lake, and they live streamed it. And they had a van backed up there, and it looked like they were going to launch a nuclear missile out of the back of that van in order to pull off that one live stream just from the shores of the bank, not out following people around or anything like that. So definitely an undertaking, but definitely something we can do. Given the right.
Well, that's exciting. I think that'll definitely grow the sport, and I mean the sport's growing anyway. I don't see it, with all this stuff going on too. It's in a more affordable way. I see a lot of bass boat anglers, like myself, and I keep hearing more and more that are. Deciding to leave the bass boat world and get into the kayak thing, and it just makes a lot of sense in a lot of ways.
The ROI, man, the ROI is better. I think, like you said, there's not as many expenses.
For sure, it is.
Yeah.
Well, we're pushing up against an hour. We usually go hour, a little over an hour, depending. This conversation is going good. We could probably go for an hour and a half or two with the stuff we're talking about. But I wanted to ask you something before we got off here for sure, which is. I know you're probably supported by different companies with all the success you've had, but I don't know that you're supported by a specific boat brand because right now you're fishing out of 2 different brands. Is that right?
As far as kayak?
Yeah, kayaks.
Yeah. I've been my first one I ever got. I'm still fishing out of. It's a Wilderness Systems Attack 120. Had it. It's about 3.5 years now, and I've been really happy with that boat. It's good for certain things it isn't good for, but it's good shallow water boat and nice and lightweight. I don't need a trailer, and I've gotten used. That's what I've started. I fished out of kayaks a few times before, but never like a legit fishing kayak. So that's what I've gotten comfortable with and learned, and I really like it. In that state championship last year, I won a Native Titan 12. And I decided I was going to sell it, and just decided to hang on to it. And opportunity came at the Hobie event, when I couldn't use. I have a Torpedo on my Attack, so since I couldn't use the Torpedo, and I was all right. I'll try out this Native. It's a good chance to try this out, and since it's allowed in the Hobie tournaments. And I still got. I remember the first couple. It took a couple of days to kind of get used to and get a feel. I think anytime you get in a new kayak, you just it's a big change from what I was in. So it has its pros and cons compared to the Wilderness Attack. But I'll be using that for the Hobie events this year. And
You've been approached by somebody. Or have you just chosen?
I've been approached, but that's the thing is I don't want to right now. I don't know if I necessarily want to be locked down. There isn't one boat really that can do it all. So I love for shallow water fishing, and And then when I can run that Torpedo that attacks a great boat, there is a couple little things I think no boat's perfect. There's a couple little things I don't like about the attack. The Bonafide, is pretty similar. It seems it's
almost like a clone,
but they've they raise the seats a little bit higher. So there's a few, there's pros and cons of each boat. Yeah. There's things I like, about the attack better than the Bonafide. But right now, I feel like just don't want to limit myself in any ways or put myself at any kind of disadvantage. And by being committed to one brand, a lot of times, you are putting yourself at a disadvantage, I feel like.
Well, if you're a kayak
you
company
should
watching
unlimit yourself.
Oh my God, Ryan!
I said you should unlimit yourself, like several anglers have recently. Unlimit yourself, Russ. Hashtag.
Hey, but if there is a kayak company watching, man, let the bidding wars begin. Somebody needs to snatch Rus Snyders up on their team. Maybe two companies. You could be the first angler to be sponsored by two different companies. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? That probably wouldn't fly.
Talked about it a little bit,
that's cool though. You're doing you. You do what fits you. That's perfect.
Maybe that's the next merger for Wilderness. Maybe Wilderness and is it Pelican? Maybe they will merge with Native and Bonafide now.
What will the slogan be then?
It's like didn't Ranger buy I think Nitro and all that. All those bass boats are all owned by one company too. Right?
Yeah,
bought them all out. But
monopoly, man.
We'll see. I've been in a Hobie a little bit too. I got in Matt Scotch's Outback. I thought that was a pretty cool boat. It took a little. I didn't spend enough time in it to really get comfortable. I felt, whenever you have to think about, whenever it's not second nature and you got to think about what you're doing before you do it, it's always the challenging part. And
when I got in the Hobie, it confused me. The cords, all the cords, rudders, and in the pro angler, it's rudder, transducer, skeg, and I was like, oh gosh, my mind's not big enough for that. But that Outback is a sweet boat. If it were me, if they would design a higher seat in the Outback,
yes,
I would love that thing. I would freaking love. I mean, honestly, it's lightweight, super fast, it paddles great. You got to have a higher seat. That's the one recommendation I would definitely make on that little rig. Yeah. I put my 9-year-old daughter in it day before yesterday. Dude, she was freaking smoking in that thing. And we were fishing in a little smallmouth area, and I look up, and she's 200 yards down from me, standing up, throwing her swim bait. And I was like, sit down. We're in current. I'm like, sit down. What are you, come on now, kid. She's like, Dad, come on now. She's like, I did gymnastics. I can balance on this. I was like, oh, gosh.
Doing cartwheels.
Killing me.
Hey, Clifton asked what rod brand you use, Russ.
Say it again?
What rod brand you use or prefer?
Oh, iRod.
iRod, okay. There it is, right on the hat. iRod.
Yeah, I've been really happy with them. It's a couple of years now, and they just they really get dialed into technique specific rods, and they just they got a really wide range, good selection, and they kill it. Great customer service. So awesome. I've been really happy with them.
Very cool. And before we get out of here, just a minute, are you on the YouTube thing? You got a YouTube channel and any of that kind of stuff where people can find you?
I started a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago. It's kind of funny, actually. So back when I lived in California and I was doing all the guiding and stuff, I was making YouTube videos. They're not good by any means, but at the time, this is before GoPros were even out. This is back in 2007, 2008. I had a little camcorder and a tripod, and I'd prop it up on my back seat, and I'd have to run back and forth all the time. And I was making some YouTube videos that are pretty similar to what people make today, but probably not near as good with the editing quality. I mean, people really stepped it up, but they weren't even that good. And I get 60, 70, 80, 100,000 views just because there was nothing to watch. It was one of the first,
Are they still on there?
People making YouTube. They're still on there, yeah.
Right.
We got to look it up now.
But I got most of my guide trips. From those YouTube videos. A good amount. I stayed busy guiding, and it was all just from those silly videos I made. And I took a bit.
Katie Macca, I knew she was gonna do that shit.
Whatever.
She's clutch, man.
She put the link in there to your channel already. In the comments.
So
Yeah.
I made a recent. I'm like, all right, I want to get back. I kind of was going to get back into guiding out here, kind of focusing on the rivers and stuff like that, and doing the lakes too. I started it all, and I was doing the tournaments, and the tournament thing just kind of took off so much that I kind of spent, most of my focus on the tournament fishing rather than really promoting my guide service. But I made a few little videos. And I spent even more time doing all the editing. I spent a lot of time trying to put it together. And, a couple months ago, I get like 200 views. And I'm like, screw this. I guess it just takes a while now. There's just so much information, so much competition. Everybody's doing it. In order to stand out and really get a fan base for that, you gotta put in a lot of work, and it's a lot of effort to really make something out of it. But maybe in the future, like I said, with as far as social media stuff and YouTube stuff, I like to try to spend as much time as I can just focusing on fishing, and all that other stuff, can kind of be a distraction and kind of take your head out of the game if you get too wrapped up in it. And I actually like podcasts a lot because, you can get it done in an hour and talk about it, and it reaches a lot of people, and,
Oh, man, that's
one
of the reasons I wanted to start this one, Ryan and I listen to him every time I go to a tournament or just drive somewhere. He's pop it on. It's great. I mean, our audio podcast gets as many, or probably more listens than the live videos. When we put up on audio.
For sure.
Yeah, they're great. I was just listening to crazy podcasts earlier. Little Joe Rogan, Elon Musk. I don't know if you guys heard that.
Dude, Elon Musk is pissed. He's about to roll out of California.
That's what I heard. My dad was just
saying. They done made him mad.
Hey, right before I got on Twitter, man, he said he was opening the factory and going to work the line, and if they're going to arrest somebody, it's going to be him. He said that today.
Yep. So I like that.
He's bringing heat.
That's a leader. That's a leader on the front lines.
Yeah, man. I'm a fan. He's doing good things.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Ryan, you got anything else before we get out of here, man?
I'm good, buddy.
Good. Russ, anything else you want to relay to your super fans out there?
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to hang out and talk with you. And, I'd really like to thank all my sponsors, Hook One Outfitters, iRod Fishing, and most recently added Dakota Lithium Batteries. Just signed on with them about a month ago, and they're really doing a lot to support me, and I appreciate all that they do. And I appreciate you guys giving me a chance to come on here and have this conversation with you.
Man. Awesome. We appreciate you, and we'll be looking for that video on the walk through your truck with all the batteries.
Yeah, that'll be coming up soon. I got to do that.
So. Yeah, man. All right. Well, hey, we're going to get another guest lined up here in the next week or so. We appreciate everybody getting on here with this new Monday night time slot. Being patient with us coming on.
Problem. Appreciate you guys being flexible and finally getting the chance. I know it's been a little difficult. Things kept coming up. And, but I'm happy with it.
It's all good, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Let's get back to tournament fishing, huh?
Yeah, Ryan. I can't wait.
All right. Dude, I know. You need to skip that guide trip and come fish. Dude, I'm going to need it. It better be turning on. This should be the last little cold night that we have. I think it's supposed to start warming back up. So
it sure messed it up. It's been tough fishing around here last week with that. I think it's that cold nights and the full moon together. I don't know what the heck's going on. And
I'm going to find some tomorrow.
All right.
Stay tuned. I'm going to find some tomorrow.
It's time. Time to light them up. But, like I said, we're going to wrap this thing up, and we'll see you guys here in about a week or so.
All right.